All right, can you believe it? We're at essential strumming pattern number 10. Um, 10 different rhythms, accompaniments. You'll be able to play all these songs. That's so cool. So, so let's take a look at essential strumming pattern number 10. We're going to break it up into two pieces. So the first part goes, okay, so it's down, down, up, down, up. Okay, down, down, up, down, up. So we're going to do that a whole bunch. Okay, here we go. And down, down, up, down, up. 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 All right, good. All right, so we're going to add in the second part of this. It's an up, up, down, up, down, up. That's what we're going to add in. So, but we're going to do the whole pattern. We'll be adding that in, okay? So it's going to sound like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. All right, so we're going to do that a whole bunch. Here we go. And down, down, up, down, up, down, up. 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 Okay, good. Okay, so let's connect two of those together. We'll play two, stop, create a loop. Here we go. And down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. And down, down, up, down, up, and good. All right, now let's connect a whole bunch of those up together. Okay, here we go. And down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Good. Okay, let's play the pattern now on a G chord. I don't think I have to tell you when you hear that chord, just get sketchy. All right, here we go. And good. All right, let's do the same thing on this time on a D chord. And down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down. Good. Same thing, but this time on an A chord. And down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Good. Let's just go right into the A7. And down, 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 up, down. Good. All right, same thing, but this time on a C chord. And down, down, good. Okay, there's one more chord in this song. It's a D7. This has been fairly easy for you. I haven't had to learn any new chords or anything. So let's do the D7, same thing. And down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, Good. All right, now let's add a chord change in. We're going to go from G to D. Okay, so it'll be like this. Okay, and then back. And then that last up strum's on the open strings. Okay, so we're going to do that a whole bunch. We're going to add this chord change in. And, okay, and... Okay, this time we're going to go from D to D7. I'm going to create a loop out of that and do the same thing. Okay, here we go. And good. All right, so this time we're going to go from D7 to G. And good. Okay, this time we're going to go from D to A. And good. Okay, we'll do A to A7. And Okay, one more. Let's do G to C. And excellent. Good. Okay, so starting with the vocals on America the Beautiful, we're going to leave O off, and we're just going to do this much. There'll be a G chord to a D chord. There'll be a chord change in there, but watch. Beautiful. Okay, again. Beautiful. Okay, so we're just going to do that much because there's that place in there. Beautiful on full, where your hand passes down past. Then we do a chord change. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to do that little section right there. And beautiful. Okay, good. All right, now we'll add in for Spacious Skies to what we've already done. Okay? Beautiful for spacious skies. Same thing with skies, watch. Beautiful for spacious skies. Okay? So, excuse me, that's the part of the vocal we're going to work. Ready? And beautiful for spacious skies. Beautiful for spacious skies. Beautiful for spacious skies. Beautiful for spacious skies. Beautiful Good. All right, we're going to go from a D to a D7, and we're going to do Spacious Skies for Am. Watch. Spacious skies for Am. Stop right here on the D7. Spacious skies for Am. So it's a little tricky because you've got that open string part going. Spacious skies for Am. Okay, we're going to do that much. Spacious skies for Am. And spacious skies for Am. Spacious skies for Am. And spacious skies for Am. And spacious skies for Am. 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 Spacious skies for... Whoops. Actually, I started daydreaming. All right. And spacious skies for Am. 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 Spacious skies for Am. Spacious skies for Am. And 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 spacious skies for Am. Spacious skies for Am. And spacious skies for Am. That should be enough. Okay. Okay, this next part's going to go from a D7 to a G. Okay, and it's going to be the lyric is Amber Waves of Grain. So here's the thing about that, the note amber, it's a little tough to find that. Okay, but it's actually a C note, so if you go to the 5th string and count to the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, it's that note right there. Sounds cool with the chord though, doesn't it? So if you're having a hard time finding that note, that's it right there. You just go to the 5th string and then go up to the 3rd fret. 1, 2, 3. the melody right there. Amber waves of grain, amber waves of grain. And with a pattern, amber waves. Your hand misses much. That note. Amber waves of grain, amber waves, amber waves of grain, 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 amber waves of grain. Good. All right, making progress. Okay, so the next part for Purple Mountain's Majesties, that's a G to a D. We're going to leave 4 off, so it's going to be Purple Mountain's Majesties. Okay. This should be a little easier since you were able to get that other part's very similar. Okay, the first part we did. Oh, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. So it's we're going to do Purple Mountains Purple Mountains Majesty. I'm going to go that far. Okay, ready? And Purple Mountains Majesty. 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 All right, that should be good. Okay. Okay, moving on to the next part. Eventually we'll be going from D, we'll be going to A7, back to D and D7. These are the chords that are encompassing this part. But well, what you have to make sure you have is there's like a syncopation that occurs with the strumming pattern. Watch, it goes. See what I did on that up strum? I went to A7. Watch. Okay. So let's practice that for a little bit, okay, to make sure we have that. And there's the A7 right there on that up strum. Okay. Pretty easy, huh? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, so now what we want to do is just remember how that was, because we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with a D to a D7. Okay, so the technique's the same. It'll be C to a D7. Okay, so we're going to practice that for a while. Okay, and okay, good. Okay, so back to the excuse me, back to the A to A7. And that's what we've been doing. But then if the pattern would just add the pattern in. Okay, so it'd be like this. See? Okay. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to lift right there to go back to A. Watch. Like that, and go back to A. Watch. Back to A. So let's do that a few times. Okay, so here we go. And okay. And good. And and Okay, good. Okay, so let's do the same thing, but with a D and D7. Okay, so it'd be like this. And back to D. Okay. And all right, good. We're moving along. All right. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more like the song now. We're going to go from A to A7. And instead of going back to A and stopping, okay, we're going to go to D. Watch. Just like that. Okay, ready? And... okay. Good. Okay, so this time we're going to move again more like what's happening in the song. And we're going to go D, D7 into G. Okay, so it'll be like this. Okay. Again, look, it's going to be like this. Just like that. That gets us a little syncopation in there. And then we make it a real nice, smooth chord change through this part. Okay. And in a little bit, we'll weave the vocals in, but it'll be okay. All right, so we're going to do... all right. So that's what's coming now. So here we go. And... Alrighty, good. Good. All right, so now if we start to put these pieces together, so what we're going to do is we're going to go from A to A7, chord change, but we're not going to stop. We're going to go right into the next part. So watch, it'll be like this. Finish on G. Okay. Did you see how I did that? Okay, we're just putting all the pieces together and just going to keep going. Okay, so it's going to be like this. And we'll end on G. Okay? And all right, that should be enough, and if you're having issues with it, you can always go back, okay? Okay, so we've been working on this A to A7, D to D7 part, okay? So now, I think it'd be a good time to add the vocals. All right, so we're going to add above the fruited plane, and fru, in that word, first part of fruited, fru, is going to be where your hand's passing down without strumming. Watch. Above the fru, right there. Okay, so that's going to be a little tricky, but I think you can manage it. And then after that, above the fruited plane, there's going to be a chord change that goes to D. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Now we're going to create a loop. We're going to play it over and over and over again. Okay, so that's what's coming. All right, so I'm going to slow this down. And we're going to use to kind of lead us in. Watch. Above, and we're going to come in on above. All right. Above the fruited plain. Did you see how that was? Okay. Above the fruited plain. So we're going to do that over and over. Okay, so here we go. Above the fruited plain. 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 above the fruited plain, 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 above the fruited plain. Okay, good. All right, so next we're going to add, we stopped on D. We're going to do that syncopated chord change to D7. Okay, we're going to add that in too. So it's going to sound like this. Above the fruited plain. One more time. Above the fruited plain. Okay, so that's what's next. We're going to make a loop out of it. We do a lot of looping here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Above the fruited plain, 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 above the fruited plain. Okay, good. All right, this next part will be going from G to D, and we're going to leave off, and we're just going to do Merica, America. So it'll be Merica, America. So on both Americas, ka passes down past the strings. You don't strum it once. Merica, America. Okay, so just be aware of that. We're going to make a loop out of this and practice it. Okay, so here we go. And Merica, America, Merica, America. Merica, America, Merica, America, Merica, America, Merica, Merica, America. Okay, good. All right, shed his grace on thee, and grace is going to be in that space again. Shed his grace. Okay, so here we go. Shed his grace on thee. 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 Okay, good. All right, let's do that whole part. Merica, America, to a D, then a D7. Shed his grace on thee. So it'll be like this. Merica, America, God shed his grace on thee. Okay, again. Merica, America, God shed his grace on thee. 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 Okay, good. All right, so the next part is a C to G. Crown thy good with brotherhood. Again. Crown thy good. See where good is? Crown thy good with brotherhood. Okay, so we're going to loop that a whole bunch. Okay, here we go. Crown thy good with brotherhood. 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 Good. Okay, now the end of this part's a little tricky. All right, so we're just going to do the chord change first, and then we'll add the vocal in. So you'll be doing a syncopation from C to D7. Okay, right on that up strum. See how that was? It was right on the up strum. And then complete the strum out and go to G. Okay, so it's like this. So we're going to do that over and over. Okay, so here we go. And okay, and so the pattern stays the same. Right? You're just adding that D7 in the middle of it. All right, good. All right, don't start adding this vocal part till you have that guitar part down, or you'll mess yourself up. Seen it many times. Okay, so I tried breaking this part up into two small pieces, but it actually became more confusing. And sometimes that can happen. I can't tell you where, I can't tell you when, but in the future, if you're breaking things down into small pieces and it's messing you up, sometimes that piece has to be a little bit bigger. And it's just whatever your mind can grasp. And sometimes it can't grasp a little piece, even though you think that's the best way to go. All right, so this part is going to be, we're going to go from a C chord to a D7 to a G. Okay, and it's going to be C to shining C. See how that was? Now you practiced the guitar part, right? So now we'll be layering that vocal on top. Okay, and C to shining C. Okay, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to do it a lot. And C to shining C, 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 and C to shining C. Okay, good. All right, now in that last part, that C to shining C, that's a perfect part. When I see players, they can be playing a strumming pattern and maybe they have it. And they'll get to places like that and then that thing will go. Instead of going C to shining C, they'll go C to shine something. They'll break that rhythm. Okay? Sometimes it's okay to break the rhythm. But if you're doing it because you can't manage the pattern and the vocal, then that's not good. It's only good if you're doing it intentionally. Maybe you're playing a part of the rhythm because something else in the band is playing, and you're doing that as an arranging technique. But if it breaks down in there, here's what's interesting too is I've seen people where it breaks down and they don't even know it, which I find that's puzzling. It's almost like they haven't learned how to listen to their vocal and listen to the chords and listen to the pattern. I think I mentioned a long time ago in one of the earlier lessons that strive to listen to 3 things at once. If you go for 4, it'll be overwhelming. But when you're listening to music on recordings and stuff, maybe they'll listen to the lead singer, or they'll listen to the lead guitar part. Okay, well, it's okay, but you're a musician, so try to listen to 3 things. Listen to the bass, drums, and maybe the vocal or whatever, but pick 3 things out and listen. And notice how when the first verse of a song is playing, try to spot all the instruments in there. Okay, now you've got all these instruments, and now the chorus will come, and watch how it changes. Okay, it'll change. It'll be something to add interest, okay, to make the chorus instrumentation a little bit different. But what's really cool is when it comes back to the second verse, now it's going to repeat. It's going to do the second verse. Listen, a lot of times another instrument will come in, and that's an arranging technique to keep your interest. So it's good if you're a musician to know these things and think about them and when you're listening, okay? I suppose there's a dividing line between listening technically, active listening it's called, when you're active listening, or you're listening for pleasure because you enjoy the music. And for some people it's hard to separate them. They're always active listening. And in a way that's too bad, because they stop enjoying the music like they did before they started to play. They lose track of that enjoyment. And it's hard to separate that. Sometimes it's hard for me because I'll hear a new song and I'll hear, listen to that bass line or that tone on that bass, and my mind goes right to the technical side of it rather than just enjoying it, But if you can, as long as you're aware that you're doing that, then I can catch myself. That's what I do. And I go, oh, come on, man, just listen to the song, So, okay. I think we're going to go to the tracks next.
Spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy
All right, we're coming to the end of this lesson. Make sure you play those tracks over and over again. Don't get ahead of yourself. If you have to go back and repeat things, go ahead and do that. In this song, I put some vocal harmonies in there. And I avoided that in the past because sometimes when a vocal harmony comes in, your melody line will drift off onto the harmony line. I didn't want to complicate things. But this is the 10th lesson, so just so you're aware of it, when you hear those harmonies come in, stay on the melody line. Okay, and of course, like the other lessons, there'll be tracks that'll follow this for you to play along with. Okay, so until next time, have a good one.